Hi, my name's Jen Rollins and I own Leonra Digital Marketing Agency. I've been in digital marketing for 25, 27, I don't know, a really long time, since ICQ and Friendster and MySpace, probably a whole ton of sites that you've never heard of because you're probably much younger and likely cooler than I am, but that's fine. So as I'm going to have my coffee today, let's talk about the number one thing that people usually come to me with is how much should I put into my campaign, or how much should I put into digital marketing spend? And so I'm going to show you what I do to figure this out, or tell you. Okay. So when you're thinking about your business, and you're thinking about doing campaigns, especially if you're trying to get people to buy something or to contact you for services, you're going to want to know your stats first before you start making a budget plan. So your campaign should always go to your website. Always, always, always. Just some people say, oh, it should go to a form, it should go to this. Just send it to your website. It's the easiest. And then make sure that you have conversion tracking on. So what does that mean? That means that in analytics, you can set up a conversion, which means if someone does this thing, we're going to consider this a conversion. And a conversion can be anything from an email, sending you an email, filling out a form, buying something online, whatever it is that you determine is a thing that you want them to do when they get to your site, you could consider that a conversion. So once you kind of have your conversion tracking in place, and yes, you can track calls in analytics. Not a lot of people know that you can do that, but you can. You totally can. Just Google it. You can Google anything pretty much. Anyway, so if you were saying, okay, I want to sell more books, cool, and you take a look at the first thing they're going to take a look at in analytics is your users. So how many people come to the site? Users are different than sessions, so make sure you're looking at users. Users are the people who come to your site, and look at them overall, so new ones, as well as ones that have been to your site before, so overall users. And then you're going to take a look at your amount of conversions. So like we talked about, emails, calls, form fills, sales. You'll figure that out. And if you take the amount of people that come to your site or users divided by the amount of conversions that you have, you can figure out your conversion rate. So when you're pulling this together, you're probably going to be like, oh my God, Jen, this is not a high number. No, it's probably not going to be a high number. An average conversion rate on a website is like 1 to 3%. Great is like 5% is probably pretty good. Anything higher than that, you're doing stellar. Congrats. You'll also want to make sure that your conversion rate or your conversion tracking is working correctly, but that's a whole other morning coffee discussion that we'll get into at some point. So we know the amount of users that come to your site. We can figure out the amount of conversions that came to your site, and that's going to give you a conversion rate. So say we come up with a goal of, I want to sell 100 new books. Cool. At a 5% conversion rate, we can figure that you'd actually need 2,000 clicks into your website to sell your 100 books. Straight across at a 5% conversion rate. There's other factors in here, but let's just use big lumpy numbers. So you need 2,000 people to come to the site to sell 100, to have 100 new sales or new conversions. So if you're looking at maybe Facebook or Meta advertising, say the average cost per click on that's maybe 50 cents. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher. It depends on how long you've been doing it. There's lots of other factors, but again, let's just grab a number. So let's say it's 50 cents. So at 2,000 clicks, the minimum amount of spend that you would need to put into that campaign is $1,000. Say you're using Google Ads, which does tend to have a higher cost per click, or it can, depending on the campaign, but it usually has a higher conversion rate. So you can figure that out too. But I'll probably do another Coffee with Jen, a video on that too, because it's kind of exciting. I don't know. I like nerding out on this stuff. So like Google Ads, to get 2,000 people to click in at $1, that's $2,000. So minimally your campaign to sell these books, your budget or spend would be $1,000 to $2,000. So you'd be like, whoa, like that's way too much, Jen. Like I don't have that much to invest into it. Then you can always start with smaller goals, or you can decide that you're going to try to increase the conversion rate on your website, which is typically a really smart thing to do. You want to start off with a website that's doing well, and then keep going with your conversions, or keep working on that conversion rate, because you'd spend less, right? If you have a higher conversion rate. And then also, SEO and that kind of stuff factors in. So let's just say that there's going to be quite a few of these coffee with Jens as we go through this. But there is a logical, fairly thoughtful way of figuring out what your budget should be for your digital advertising spend. And you would figure that out, again, by the amount of people that go to your website versus the amount of conversions that happen, figuring out your conversion rate, then your average cost per click, and that will give you your budget. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you.